Okay guys, now let us start today's session. In today's session, we are going to discuss these concepts. Introduction to automation testing. What is a software test automation? And what are the benefits of software test automation? And what are the selection criteria? How do we select automation candidates for automation? And what are the reports and what are the different types of metrics will be used in the automation testing projects? And what is the automation testing process? What is the software automation testing life cycle process? See, first we have to understand these general automation testing concepts before starting with before learning any automation tool. First, you should have some good understanding of software testing concepts, test automation concepts. See, let me start with introduction to software test automation. What is a software test automation? Software test automation. What is automation testing? What do you think that? Just tell me your ideas, what you are thinking about automation testing. Hello, please respond. All of you are mute, is it? Are you talking in mute?
We have to automate the test cases so that it gets executed automatically.
Yeah, that means test cases should be executed automatically. That's what, right? You're telling. Yeah. Okay, fine. So, is there any other definitions that we can give to automation testing?
Repeated work should be automated. That means repeated work will be taking more time. So that
Rajesh, your voice is not clear. Sorry, Nagaraj, right? This one.
yes.
Yeah, Nagaraj, your voice is not clear. Audio is not clear. Some disturbance is coming. Not clear.
I need to check. I will check on that.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Fine. Okay. See, generally, right? Software testing. What is software testing means? So, testing and software application to validate that whether all software requirements are met or not in the software application. That means software testing is a process of validation and verification to make sure that all software requirements are satisfied in the application. So that is called software testing, right? It is a software testing definition we can give in technical terms. That means how we are doing software testing. Software testing will be carried out in two different ways. One is through manual testing, another one through automation testing. See, both are required. It's not like that in some projects only automation testing will be used, or in some projects only manual testing will be used. It would be a combination of manual testing and automation testing. So that's how all software applications will be tested through manual testing and automated testing. So in the manual testing process, what we do? The user, that means the tester, software tester, engineers, they will test the application by feeding the input, by submitting some input into the application and verifying the output of the application with expected results. How testers will test the application? So they will test what they will test in the application. They will test functionality, they will test performance, they will test security features, they will test installability, and they will test usability. So there are so many features should be tested in one software application. Got it? So all these things are different types of testing categories: security testing, performance testing, functional testing. Got it? And installability testing, localization testing. So like that, there are so many types of testings are there. So all these things will be carried out based on the requirement, whatever the testing is required in that application. So all those testings will be carried out by software test engineers in the companies, right? So here testing means majorly functional testing. See, majorly in the testing, software testing means the major part, 70 to 80% is a functional testing. The remaining 20 to 30% involves all other types of testings like performance, security, installability, okay, recovery testing, localization testing, globalization testing, all those things will come. So that means if you take any application, functional testing, that application functionality is the major testing, major part of the testing. Functional testing is major part of the software testing. See, who will be doing this functional testing? Software testers will be doing that. To perform this software testing, what is required, what skills we need to test any software application? Can you tell me few skills what is required to test any application, any software application? I'm talking about manual testing. To perform manual testing on any application, what skills we need as a testers? Hello, again talking in mute.
We have to create the scenarios, we have to do observation while executing the test cases so that everything is perfect or not as per functional testing.
Yeah.
As per requirement.
Okay. Okay. See, as a tester, say we need minimum, right? Right, common skills. What are the common skills required to perform manual testing to any tester? First thing is good understanding skills. That means requirements understanding. You should be able to understand quickly the application requirements. You should be able to quickly grab that application functionality understanding. So that is very important. Understanding the application requirements is most important to test any application. Okay, and generally good communication skill, that is important because you have to communicate with different teams, different project teams within the software project. So you should have to communicate clearly what you are trying to convey to all the teams. So that should be clearly communicated. So that is very important. And good analytical skills. Analytical skills means as a tester, you should be able to understand the requirement very clearly and you should be able to analyze that requirement in many different ways. You have to analyze that requirement in many ways and you have to come up with multiple cases. Cases means how that particular requirement can be tested, in how many ways that particular requirement can be tested. So when you test one requirement in more number of combinations of input conditions, then you may find more number of defects in that particular requirement. And also one more important thing, you should have to break that requirement. That means you have to try to break that application. That means you have to find out when that application will be broken, when it can be broken, where it will break, when application will break. So in each requirement, you should try to find that breaking point. So when this particular requirement can break, so or it may break. So you have to find out that particular case for that particular requirement, and those cases should be tested. Then only you can find all defects or all hidden defects in the application. That means you should have something like negative thinking also. It is important for testers. Negative thinking means you should always try to think something negatively with respect to application requirements to find out when that requirement will break. So in which scenario or in which situation that scenario, that particular requirement will break. So that is what you have to try to find. That way you have to analyze that requirement and you have to come up with more number of negative cases as well as positive cases for one requirement, for each requirement. Okay, that means these are the common general skills that we need as a tester, as a manual tester. If you are automation tester, if you take automation testing, software automation testing. So what is the difference between software automation testing and manual testing? Manual testing, the tester will sit in front of the system and he opens the application and he feeds the data into the application and he will check the output, what output we are getting in the application, whether this output is matching with expected result or not, or expected condition, or with expected status, or with expected state of the application, is it matching or not. So they will verify that. If it is matching, then that particular case or that particular test condition would be passed. If it is not matching, that particular test condition or that particular test case would fail. Correct? So this is way that manual testing will be carried out. That means if it is automation testing, in automation testing what we do, no tester will be sitting in front of the system and the tester will not open the application and the tester will not feed the data into the application and he will not verify the output in the automation testing. In the automation testing what we do, by using some automation tool, by using some automation testing tools, we execute test cases automatically. That means that automation tool will execute the test cases, that means application, on behalf of software tester, and it executes the same steps what software tester will do manually. The same steps the automation tool will execute in the application, and it will feed the data into the application and it will verify the output of the application with expected results and will report pass or fail status in the report. That means this automation tool will play software tester's role here. That means all test cases will be automatically executed by automation tool on behalf of software tester, and this tool will execute all the test cases and will verify the results and will generate the execution status, pass or fail status for all the cases automatically. So no tester will sit in front of the system in automation testing process. So we no need to sit in front of the system. We no need to monitor the automation execution. Got it? So this is how the automation testing will be carried out. See, to execute automation testing, what we need. See, to execute manual testing, what we need, what we do when we are executing any application manually, what we are doing in the manual testing process. Let me open. Yeah. See, if I take any manual testing, in the manual testing, how we are doing manual testing execution? Before executing test cases, what manual testers will do? First, they will understand requirements. They will understand the requirements. After that, they will prepare estimations, then they will prepare a plan, and then they will prepare test cases. They will prepare test cases, and after that they will review the test cases, and then they will execute test cases. After executing the test cases, we analyze the results to check that whether application output is matching with expected results or not. If there is any mismatches, then that should be reported. That should be reported as a defect. That means defect reporting. After reporting defects, again that defect life cycle will be started. That means that defect will be assigned to developers. Developers will fix that defect. Again, that will be coming back to the QA team to retest the defect. Again, testing team will execute the corresponding test cases. Then if the test case is passed, then they will close the defect. So it is called defect lifecycle process. Okay, that and all I don't go inside in detail. So defect reporting, report defects. After that, reporting. That means preparation of execution, summary reports, and sharing that reports to all stakeholders in the project. So these are the process. This is the process generally in general in the testing projects, in the manual testing process they follow, correct? Understanding requirements and estimations, preparation of estimations, and preparation of test plan, and the preparation of test cases, and reviewing test cases, and then execution of test cases, then analyzing the results. If there is any mismatches or failures are found, then defect should be logged, and then the defect should be tracked till the close. And finally, preparation of reports, and share those reports to all stakeholders in the project. So this is the process will be repeated, okay, almost for all the releases in the manual testing project. So similarly, if you want to do automation test execution, in automation test execution, what we need to do? See here, to execute manual testing, what we are using here? Test cases. See, in some projects, they may have prepared test scenarios also. Test scenarios or test cases, or both. In some projects, they may have test scenarios and test cases both. In some projects, they may have only scenarios or only test cases, like that they used to prepare. These test scenarios and test cases will be used to perform manual test execution. Similarly, to perform this automation test execution, what should be used? What will be used here? Test scripts. We call it here test scripts. What is this test script is all about? The test script means nothing but, see here, you have the test cases prepared during the manual testing, correct? And these test cases will be executed by testers. And suppose I have executed some 500 test cases in the first build. Out of that, 100 cases are failed and 200 cases are passed in the first build. So in the second build, what we need to do? We have to re-execute all failed 100 test cases. Is it right? And also we need to test some more new cases in that particular build. That means the previous build failed cases and the current build new cases. So these are the cases will be executed in the next build. Is it right? And also not only these two, see just right, I will mention here, see how, suppose in release 1 I have executed a total 500 test cases. 500 test cases. Okay guys, total cases are 500. So out of this, say total 500, out of that 300 cases are 400 cases are passed. How many cases are passed? 400 passed, for example. And some failed cases are 100 cases. Okay. Now, when I go to suppose next release, or let us assume that build 1, this is build 1 and build 2, or make it as release 2. No problem. Okay. Release 2. So in release 2, what are the cases will be executed? First, failed cases, correct? Failed cases in release 1, that is 100. Okay. And new cases, release 2 new cases. Suppose assume that there are some more, one more 100 new cases are added for release 2. Apart from that, what else will be executed? Any idea? Guys, are you following me? See, in release 1, we have total 500 test cases. Out of that, 400 test cases are passed and 100 cases are failed. That is the status of release 1 execution. Now, when you come to release 2, in release 2, what are the cases should be executed? Release 1 failed cases, 100, and similarly release 2 new cases. That means in release 2 some new functionality might be added, and for those new functionalities we should have designed some 100 more new test cases. So those 100 new test cases will be executed in release 2. Apart from these two, any more test cases will be executed? Anything else will be executed? Sailesh, anything else will be, any other cases will be executed? Hello, Sailesh? Okay, see here we have to execute a few more test cases, not only these two sets. What is that? One more set of test cases should be executed. Regression cases. What is this regression cases means? See here in release 1 of 500 test cases we executed total. Out of that 400 test cases are passed, correct? So these 400 test cases we are not going to rerun again in release 2. It is not required to re-execute all 400 test cases in release 2 again, but we should have to execute at least some 30% of this 400 test cases. Why we should execute 30% of these 400 test cases? That percentage may vary, okay, depends upon the project to project. This percentage can vary. Just I'm assuming that, for example, 20% of the test cases they planned to execute as part of regression testing. That means in the release 1, there are 400 test cases are passed. So out of that, some 20%, assume that 20% means it is 40 cases, right? So some 40 cases should be executed from this list of passed test cases from release 1. That means from these 400 test cases, some important 40 test cases will be selected, and those 40 test cases will be executed in release 2. For what purpose we are executing these 40 cases? To make sure that in this release 2, these functionalities, whatever the functionalities are tested in release 1, and whatever the functionalities or cases are paused, so those functionalities are still working fine without any issues in release 2 also. We have to ensure that. How we can ensure that? By running some, at least some percentage of some part of the paused cases from previous release should be executed again in the next release to ensure that in this release 2, already working functionalities are working good. There is no more issues or defects are introduced into this paused cases in the release 2. We have to ensure that. So this is called regression testing. So these regression cases should be executed in release 2. Got it? So again, similarly, when you go to next release 3, is it right? In the next release, again, you may get some more failed cases from release 2. Okay, failed cases, some cases you may have here, failed cases. Apart from that, some more new cases, again regression cases you may have. So again here the regression cases might be, suppose another 20 cases are added, new cases. So 20 plus 40, so total 60 cases in release 3. The total number of regression cases would be 60 cases. Got it? So like this, in every release, see the number of test cases what should be executed. Some failed cases, some set of new cases, and some set of already passed cases. So these already passed cases are taken from previous releases. That means in the previous releases, these cases are already passed, but again you should have to re-execute it in the current release also to make sure that those cases are passed here in the current release as well. Got it? So it is called regression testing. That means these regression cases will be repeated in every release again and again. So these cases are repeated cases. Got it? Similarly, there is another set of cases which will be repeated in every build and in every release. That is called smoke test cases. Smoke, or it is called sanity sometimes, test cases. What is this smoke or sanity test cases? See, whenever you get a new release or a new build for testing, right? So the testing team first will execute these smoke test cases or sanity test cases. What is the smoke testing or sanity test cases is the set of test cases which tests the basic flow or basic navigation of the application to make sure that the application is deployed correctly. That means the application deployment is successful and application can be tested, to ensure that application can be tested. Once these smoke test cases are executed and all are passed, only then we will start the actual execution. That means all these cases will be executed only after smoke and sanity test cases execution. Okay, so it should come first always. Okay, so in every build or in every release, whenever you get a new application, a build for testing, the testing team immediately first they will execute all smoke test cases on that application, and based on that smoke test cases testing execution results, the testing team will decide that whether that application can be tested or not. Suppose if there is any showstopper defect means if there is if suppose application login itself getting failed, we are not able to log in into the application. It is a showstopper defect. The smoke testing will fail with high severity or with the showstopper defect. If smoke testing is failed with high severity defect or showstopper defect, then that application testing will be stopped. That means that application cannot be tested anymore. The testing will be suspended. If the smoke testing is passed, only then they will continue application testing. That means failed cases execution. See, what is this called? Failed cases execution. What is this called? It is called retesting. Retesting means again re-execution of failed cases. That is called retesting. So these new cases, we are testing here new functionality. Understand, here we are testing new functionality, functional testing. Okay, this is a regression testing. It is called regression testing. Clear guys? So like this, in the software testing, manual testing will be carried out. See, in this process, in this software testing process, where automation testing will come to the picture, where automation testing is required, and where we can use automation testing in this testing process. See, if you observe that starting from release 2, there are few cases will be repeated in every release and in every build. Okay, what are the cases? Which cases will be repeated in every build or in every release? So these are the cases will be repeated: smoke test cases and the regression cases. So these cases, same cases, will be executed again and again in all the releases and in all the builds. So these cases are repeated cases. So these repeated cases, if you have to execute manually, so it will take a lot of time. That means to execute all these cases manually, so it may take a lot of time and you need many number of resources. That means you need many number of testers in the project to execute all these test cases, smoke test cases, retesting and functional testing and regression testing. To perform all these testings manually, then definitely it will take a lot of time, lot of effort. So you need many number of testers in the team. But if you can execute this repeated test cases means these test cases already executed manually and those cases are already passed in the previous releases. So testers, they no need to again spend some time or effort to re-execute these test cases again. So what we will be doing generally, these smoke test cases and regression test cases will be executed by automation tool, by using automation testing. And manual testers will be concentrating on retesting of defects by executing failed cases and execution of new cases to test new functionalities in the current build or release. And automation testers, they will finish this smoke testing execution and regression test execution by using automation tool and automation scripts. So this automation tool, if we execute this smoke test cases and regression test cases by using automation tool, it can be finished very quickly, because the automation tool will execute the test cases very fast. If you compare with a manual testing, the automation testing will be very fast. So automation testing can be finished within a short time. It can execute more number of test cases. Got it? So that is where automation testing will be used or will be coming to the picture in the testing projects. To execute repeated test cases, that is the main point, guys. Automation testing will be used here to execute repeated test cases. Guys, are you able to follow me? Are you able to understand the concept of what I am discussing here? Please just rise or just ping me if you have any query or any doubt, so that I can explain you one more time with the example. Okay. So anybody have any queries here till now? Just right, I'm trying to explain you where automation testing will be coming to the picture in the testing project and where it will be used actually in the testing projects, and what will be automated in the testing project. What will be automated? The repeated test cases will be automated by using automation tool. That means the repeated test cases generally comes in smoke testing and regression testing. So by using automation testing in general, we execute these two test cases, smoke test cases and regression test cases. Okay guys, all of you are clear, right, up to here? So now let me discuss the benefits of automation testing. See guys, one more point I missed. That means actually we started that. See how we are executing these test cases by using automation tool. That is the one important point, right? So how do we execute these test cases? By using some automation tool. See, in the market there are so many automation tools are available, correct? Like currently we have two tools having good demand in the market. Those two tools are Selenium WebDriver, and another one we can say UFT. And still there are many other tools right now getting demand, getting more demand nowadays. That means they started using these tools like Tusker and also Renorex. So these are all tools, automation testing tools. See, by using these automation testing tools, what we test, we can test application functionality. So these tools are called functional testing tools. These tools are called functional testing tools. Selenium WebDriver, UFT. Selenium WebDriver is an open source tool. That means it is not a licensed one. It is a free tool. Anybody can use it and can download it and can use it. It is an open source. But this is a licensed one. It is a HP tool. So it is very costly tool in the market. And it was also, it is also a licensed one. All are licensed except Selenium WebDriver. Okay, licensed one. It is also licensed. So all these tools are used to automate functional testing. That means to automate regression test cases or smoke test cases. By using these tools, we can automate smoke test cases and functional regression test cases. That is the correct word. Okay, by using these tools, we can automate functional regression testing. Test cases can be automated. Okay guys, so now by using these tools, how do we execute these test cases? Come to that point. See, you have test cases smoke test cases and we have regression test cases which will be repeated again and again in all the builds and releases, right? So by using this automation tool, we have to automate these test cases first. Automating the test cases means we have to create automation script for each test case. For every test case, automation script will be developed. That is called automation test script. Automation test script will be created for each test case. So this automation test script is a program, is a kind of a program developed in different languages based on this automation tool. Which automation tool you have used in your project. Okay, based on that tool, we will be using different programming or scripting languages to develop this automation test script for each test case that should be automated. See here, don't worry that it's a programming means you are not going to write the complete program. You are not going to write this program completely. See, all automation tools are having one feature called recording feature, or most of the tools in the market will generate the script automatically for you. That means almost 70% of the script or code will be generated automatically, and just we need to enhance that script 20 to 30% by adding some control statements like if conditions, loops, okay, that kind of modifications you may have to do manually. Okay, so that means that flexibility would be available in the automation tools. So it is not required to develop the script, right? That means you no need to write every line of code in the automation test script. The automation tool itself can generate 70 to 80% of the script automatically for you for each test case, and the rest of the 20 to 30% you have to add or you have to modify that recorded script or that automatically generated script. So that means you should have some basic knowledge of programming concept. It's not required to have in-depth knowledge of programming concepts, but it is very important, very mandatory to have basic programming knowledge. Okay, that is very simple. That means we will discuss in detail about core Java concepts, what core Java concepts you should know to work with Selenium WebDriver. Okay, with examples, we will do some practice as well. Okay, we will do some exercises by using core Java so that you can get familiar with core Java concepts. Simple concepts. We don't go in detail or in-depth concepts of core Java. It's not required. In-depth knowledge also not required to work with the Selenium WebDriver. Okay guys, that means automation test script will be created for each test case by using some automation tool. So automation test engineers, that means the testers with good experience or good knowledge in that particular automation tool, so they will be developing this automation test script for all the cases by using some programming language or scripting language. So this script will be generated by using some programming or scripting language So this programming and scripting languages will be different for each tool. So depends upon the tool which you are using, you should have to use different languages. Okay, that we'll see later. Okay, now you understand now what is automation testing means. Automation testing means first we have to develop some automation script for all the cases by using some automation tool, and that automation tool can execute the script, and this automation script will run the manual test cases in the application by submitting some input data into the application and verifies the output with expected results and reports the status into the report, into the HTML, or into the result file. So all these things, all these steps will be carried out by automation script that we are creating by using automation tool. So as part of this our training, we will be learning how to generate, how to create automation test script for all the cases. That means how to automate the test case by using Selenium WebDriver automation tool. By using this Selenium WebDriver tool, how to automate a test case into automation script. So that is what we are going to learn. How to create it, how to generate the script by using Selenium for each test, for the test cases. That we will be learning now in our next sessions. Okay. So now let us see that another important point or that we should understand. Benefits of automation testing. Benefits of automation testing. See here, automation testing benefits. I have some important benefits. Why we are using automation testing in the testing projects? What is the use of automation testing? Why we are not using only manual testing in the testing projects? What is the necessity of using automation testing? Because there is some benefit, there is some advantage by using automation testing in the testing projects. So what are those benefits? See here, it is listed here. The first benefit is saving. What will be saved? Time or effort or cost. The project cost will be saved. How time will be saved? Because if you execute one test case manually, it will take, suppose if I take suppose some 50 steps are there in one test case. If I execute that step, we may take some 15 minutes of time. If you execute the same test case by using automation, it can be finished within 2 minutes or within 2-3 minutes, not more than that. That means, see the difference, the time difference, execution time difference. If you execute the test case manually, it may take some 15 minutes. But if you execute the same test case by automation testing, it can be finished within 2 minutes or 3 minutes maximum. So here we are saving almost 12 to 13 minutes of time saving for one test case. So like that, in every build and in every release, we'll be executing hundreds and thousands of test cases. So if you execute those test cases by using automation, we can save a lot of time. So time saving means effort saving. Effort saving means cost saving. So cost saving, to whom it is benefit? Client will be getting benefit. Is it right? That means the project cost will be reduced. So client will be happy because their budget will be reduced by using automation testing. So that is a primary benefit of automation testing. Time, effort and cost saving. And the second important benefit, it increases the test coverage. What is this test coverage means? See, for example, say test coverage means, suppose I have 2000 cases in the application. I have 2000 regression test cases I have, for example. I have regression test cases, 2000 regression test cases. Say we get a build, and that build will be completed. That means we have to complete execution testing of that particular build within a week. That is the time given to the testing team to complete that build execution within a week. See, they have 2000 regression test cases, and again they may have some new test cases and some failed test cases. Apart from that, we have 2000 regression test cases. Is it possible to execute all these test cases within a week time? manually, not at all possible. So what they will do at this time, they may go with right risk-based testing. That means out of 2000 they will filter out and they will select most critical and most risky test cases, and only those test cases will be executed within a week time, and they will close the testing. But we have 2000 regression test cases, but because of the lack of time, what they will do, they will select only very few test cases which can be executed within a week time. Only those cases can be selected and will be executed, and they will close the testing within a week. That means what is happening here? See, instead of running 2000 test cases, they may be running only just 200 test cases, only 200 within a week time, by using existing available resources, manual resources. That means if they are using only manual testing, I'm talking, okay? If they are doing only manual testing and if there is no automation testing at all in the project, in that scenario, if you get a scenario like this, you get a new build and that build testing should be completed within a week time, and you have only 2 resources, for example, but you have 2000 regression test cases to execute, and also some other failed test cases and some new cases also are there. Then what is the first priority will be given? Failed cases and new cases. That is the first priority should be given, and the least priority should be given to regression test cases. So again, in these regression test cases, it is not at all possible to execute all 2000 test cases within a week time. So what they will do, they will select only, they will pick only 100 or 200 most critical or risky test cases, and that will be executed and testing will be closed within a week time. So what is the coverage here? What is the test coverage? Only 10%. Is that means regression testing is not executed 100%. It is not executed 100%. So what is the problem in this case? It is really risky, because if you don't execute all the regression test cases, there is a chance of defect leakage. That means there is a chance of missing some defects in the application. You may not be able to find all the defects in the application. So in such scenario, what happens? That build will be moving to the production environment, and there they will find the defect in the production environment. So that is really high risky. Understand? So that is the problem you will be facing if you are not able to execute all the cases on any build. So it is very important to make sure that all cases are executed in every build, to ensure that there is no defect is missing. So how we can do that? By using automation testing, it is possible. So if you are using automation testing, yes, we can be able to execute 2000 cases within a week time. Within a week time, we could be able to execute all 2000 cases. That means we could be able to execute 100% of regression testing is possible if you are using automation testing. Understand? That means definitely by using automation testing, the test coverage is definitely increased if you compare with manual testing coverage. So that is this point. Guys, you got this point? Increases the automation testing increases test coverage. And the next point is reliable. Automation testing is reliable. Reliable means, say suppose if I have one functionality, if I take insurance application, okay, in the insurance application you have a premium calculation functionality. That means you have to check whether that application is generating the premium value correctly. the correct premium value is generating or not. You have to test that functionality. See how this functionality will be tested. That functionality should be tested with thousands of data, with thousands of combinations of input data. You have to test that particular functionality. That much very critical and complex functionality in the insurance application. Premium validations. Got it? Suppose if there is no automation testing at all, if you have to test this functionality only by manual, what will happen? That means that functionality should be tested with thousands of data. When you are executing the same flow with thousands of data, with thousands of different data sets, what happens? There is a chance of human errors, definitely. So there is a chance of doing something wrong manually in the manual execution. So then definitely you may miss some defect, or you may raise some invalid defect. So that we may cause again some more extra rework. Understand? That means it is very difficult to execute manually. That means it is very difficult to repeat again and again same testing with multiple sets of data. Definitely there is a chance of human error, and so definitely there is a chance of missing some defects, or there is a chance of logging some invalid defects in such case. That means what we can understand here, the manual testing sometimes may not be reliable, particularly where the functionality is more complex. So in such case, manual testing definitely will not be reliable. But in this case, automation testing is more reliable than manual testing. Not only in complex test functionality, if you take any test case or any functionality, always automation testing is more reliable than manual testing, because what we are doing in automation testing, we are developing some automation program in such a way that that automation script executes the same steps what we define in the test case. That means that automation script would be created in such a way it executes that test case steps, and it enters that particular data, and it verifies this particular output, and it will report the status. So once you develop that automation script, then this script can be executed anytime, in any release, in any environment. Always it will execute same steps without any mistake. There is no chance of any human error in the automation script execution. Once if you create that automation script perfectly, and once you have reviewed that script, and once you have ensured that script is perfectly working, then that automation script will never do any human mistake in all future executions. Is it right? So that's why automation testing is more reliable than manual testing. That is this point. And what is this reusable concept? If I create automation script, see generally where we are creating automation script, in the QA environment. In the QA environment, that means in the testing environment, we are developing the automation scripts. Even though the automation script is developed in the QA environment, that automation script can be executed on different environments like UAT, user acceptance testing environment, or sometimes in the production environment if required, or sometimes in the assembly environment. So the automation script can be reused across the environments or across the browsers. It can be reusable. So that is the benefit of automation testing. And next one, repeatable. what is this repeatable feature is, if I create one automation script for one test case, for example, if I take a premium validation case, if that test case is automated, that means a script is developed for that premium validation test case, then this automation script can be executed with n number of data sets, whatever you want. If I want to test this premium validation test case by using 2000 data sets, yes, we can do that. We can execute that script 2000 times with the different data sets every time. So that is called repeatable. That means the same script can be repeated n number of times with multiple sets of data. It is possible by using automation testing. And another feature of benefit of programmable automation testing is programmable. See, sometimes, right, as we discussed about a complex functionality premium validation example. So premium validation testing is difficult if you want to test that manually. There is a chance of missing some defects, which is very, very critical functionality in the insurance application. Understand? So there should be no errors in this functional testing, premium validation testing. So in this case, always it is advisable to go with automation testing. That means even complex functionalities in the application can be easily tested by creating a automation program for that particular complex functionality. That means we can make more complex functionality testing easier and simple by creating automation script. So that is called programmable. Got it, guys? And the last benefit is, sometimes there might be some testings which cannot be executed manually at all. Example, load testing, stress testing. So these testings cannot be done manually at all, not possible. So you should have to use only automation to perform load testing, stress testing. These testings cannot be executed manually. Okay, that is one example. Okay, so that means there are some areas which cannot be tested manually. So those areas still can be tested by using automation testing. Example, load testing and stress testing. Guys, any questions you have here up to in this test automation benefits points? Do you have any queries or questions? Hello? Okay, Sailesh responded. Can you please respond in the chat if you have any doubts, or are you clear? Are you understand? Are you able to follow, right?
Yes, Prasad.
Yeah, okay. Okay, yes. Yeah, just thank you, all of you responded. Yeah. See, now come to the next, right? These are the benefits of automation testing. By using automation testing in the testing projects, we'll be getting all these benefits. So that's why automation testing is nowadays very, very important. Nowadays, right, in the projects, in the real-time projects, if you see, there is no separate automation tester and there is no separate manual testers in the testing projects nowadays. They are expecting all testers should have strong automation skills. That is the expectation nowadays in all projects, in all companies. I hope so. So That means they remove the division line between manual testers and the automation testers. Before it was there, that means there was separate manual testing team and there was separate automation testing team in the projects. But nowadays there is no separate manual testing team and automation testing teams. Manual testers itself should be able to do automation. They should be able to execute automation scripts. They should be able to do modifications in automation scripts. So that is the current requirement really from the testers. Okay. So the next point is how to select automation candidates in the testing project. How do you identify what cases can be automated? What can be automated? What cannot be automated in the testing project? How do you select? What is the criteria for that? So you see here there are some 4 to 5 important criteria points are there. First one is the test cases which are repeated. That means test cases that is repeated again and again. That means the test cases that should be executed again and again in all the releases and builds. What are the repeated cases we discussed here? Smoke test cases and regression cases. So these two cases are repeated cases again and again. So that is the first criteria. And the second one, a test case or functionality that should be tested with n number of data sets. Example, premium validation functionality that should be tested with the hundreds and thousands of data. So definitely such functionality should be automated. And the next one, business critical functionalities or cases. Business critical means the functionalities are areas that would be used most frequently by the end user. See what functionalities, what application areas will be used by end user most frequently. So those test cases should be automated. Similarly, complex cases are functionalities, that means which are very difficult to test manually. Some calculations like premium calculations, okay? And suppose if there is any back-end testing, if there is any third-party into back-end maybe interfaces or batch programs testing. So these kind of things, right? Testing manually might be will be very difficult. It may take very long time sometimes. You have to wait until that batch program execution is completed. Or sometimes you should have good special skill to test that particular feature. Example, if there is any interface involved in your application, then you should be aware of that, how to access that interface. You may have some specialized skill like AS400 or mainframes to test that particular interface. Okay, that kind of things, right, will be difficult for manual testers to execute manually. So such kind of complex functionalities or cases can be automated, can be selected for automation. And cases that cannot be tested manually, example, load testing and stress testing. So those cases always, those testing should be always automated. It cannot be tested manually at all. Okay, these are the basic criteria that should be used to select the cases for automation in the project, in the automation project. And the next one is which cases cannot be automated. So there are some cases, say we cannot automate every test case. Every test case in the application cannot be automated. So there are some certain cases which should not be automated. So example, usability cases. Usability means look and feel. Checking that application look and feel, what colors are used in the application, and is it possible for new user without any knowledge about that application whether they are able to use that application or not, how easy for new users to work with that application. So this is called usability, look and feel, and how easy to use that application is. So this testing is called usability testing. So this kind of testing cannot be automated. And next one, the test cases that is not repeated again and again. That means the test cases which are not required to execute in every release or in every build, then it is not required to automate that particular test case. And manual intervention. Say in some functional testing, some manual intervention is mandatory. Like, right, for example, if I execute one functionality, it will trigger email today night after 12 o'clock. If I test one functionality now, this functionality should be continued testing only tomorrow. We cannot continue that particular test case execution after certain steps. After certain steps, you have to wait until tomorrow morning to check that mail is triggered or not into my inbox. That means here you have to wait until certain time or until some batch program executed midnight. Only then you can continue that particular test case execution. So this kind of things, right? Whenever there is some manual interventions are mandatory in the testing, then definitely it is not a good test case for automation. And short-term projects. If that project is a short-term, that means that project would be closed or should be completed within 3 months time or within 6 months time or within 1 year time, then it is not a good idea to go with automation testing. Okay, that is another criteria. Another one, failed test cases. You should never automate failed cases. Why we should never automate failed test cases? See, what is a failed case? The test case is failed because the application output is not matching with expected result. Is it right? That means the expected condition is not met in the application, or the expected state is not found, or expected result is not found in the application. So that's why the test cases are failed. So whenever the expected result is not found or expected condition is not met in the application, then you cannot automate that expected condition. It's not possible to automate that expected condition. So it is always not a good idea to automate failed test cases. Okay guys, clear? So these are the criteria that we can consider to decide that this test case cannot be or is not a good automation candidate, when you can decide that based on these criteria. Guys, any questions you have in this? No questions? Okay. Okay. See now, say the next one. Say in the testing, right? In any software project, you can find these are all different environments in the project. You can see development environment, assembly environment, okay, SIT, INT, QA testing, UAT production, all these things, right? See, you are developing the automation scripts generally in the QA or testing environment. Once you develop this automation steps, client may ask you to execute your automation scripts in any of these environments, not only in the QA or testing environment. You have to execute the automation scripts on any environment. Wherever client wants to execute, you should be able to execute your automation testing on all these environments with small changes, not as it is. Some changes and some pre-setup is required to execute automation scripts in dev environment or in assembly environment or UAT environment or in production environment. So some user credentials, application path, all those things will change, right? Our database may change. So that setup and all, we have to do some changes in the automation scripts, and then we have to execute that scripts on different environments if client wants to execute it. Okay, so generally these are the environments will be used, and sometimes you may have to execute your automation testing any of these environments. And now let us see SIT, NIT, ENT. What is that means? Where is this? Yeah, SIT, INT. This is called integration environment, system integration testing or integration testing environment. So in some projects, right, SIT itself is called QA testing, QA environment. In some projects, this INT might be assembly. Okay, that means in assembly environment, what they do, they integrate the code. They will perform integration testing there. So in some projects, they can call it as INT. In some projects, they will use this SIT for QA environment also. Okay, so maybe namings may be different project to project. Okay. SIT means system integration testing. INT means integration testing. Yeah. Okay, guys. Now let us see that in automation testing project, what are the different types of reports, documents that we use? See here, test automation strategy. So it is one important document or report that we have to prepare in the automation testing projects. Generally, it will all these reports will be prepared by our test automation lead in the project. So what this document contains, our test automation strategy, it defines the automation approach. It defines the automation process, how this project should be automated, what is the approach should be followed, or what are the process should be followed to automate this project. Okay, what is the way to go to complete automation of this project? So that is defined in automation strategy document. That means here they will decide that what framework should be used, how automation steps should be designed, how automation execution should be performed. Okay, how automation status should be reported, communicated to all stakeholders. So the process will be defined, approach will be defined for every stage in this strategy document. That means end to end, the full automation testing, end to end approach will be defined in this automation strategy. So this automation strategy will be varying, depends upon the application, what application, which domain it is, what type of what is that functionality you are automating. So depends upon that, this strategy may differ project to project. See, for example, if you are automating web-based application, it could be a generic approach, how you automate any web-based application. So you will be using some data-driven framework or keyword-driven framework, and then we can use some QTP tool. Then you can automate all the test cases by using that particular tool. Then you can execute by using even Selenium WebDriver also. So they will define that end-to-end approach. Okay, by using automation, this particular tool should be used. By using this tool, then what we have to do? We have to develop the automation scripts by using this particular framework. So they will define detailed step by step how script should be created, what guidelines should be followed, okay, and what are the rules should be followed to developing the script, and how script should be integrated, how script should be executed. All the entire process will be defined in the strategy document. Suppose if you are automating, suppose if I am automating some PDF reports, that application contains full of PDF reports comparison. There is no UI application at all. Yes, you can find this kind of applications also. Okay, you may have different types of applications will be testing in the companies. Suppose in my project, if I have only PDF reports comparison, that is my testing, then your automation strategy will be different. You can't use a same strategy that has been used for web-based application automation, because here you have to automate PDF reports testing. It is different requirement. So you cannot follow the same strategy what you used for web-based application. So here you have to follow different framework, different approach to automate PDF reports or testing. Understand? Similarly, suppose if you are testing, if you are automating, right, purely database testing, then what is your approach could be different. So that is called a strategy. That means the automation high-level approach, end-to-end process, will be defined in this test automation strategy document. And what is a test automation plan contains document? This document contains at each stage. That means in the strategy you are defining that end-to-end process, right? Or approach, end-to-end approach. So at every stage, what activities or tasks should be completed, when each task should be started, when each task should be completed, who is responsible for that task, what skills that particular resource should have, okay, and what are the deliverables should be delivered at every stage to the client, and what are the risks you may face at different stages. To avoid those risks, what is a contingency plan? If that risk occurs, then what is a mitigation plan? Got it? When each stage should be started, when each stage should be closed, what is the entry and exit criteria of each stage. So all these things will come in automation plan. It's like a normal manual test plan. Even in manual testing plan document also, you will be having all these sections. So here also same sections, but only the content will change with respect to automation testing. That is automation plan document. And next, ROI report. See, this is a very important report in automation projects. ROI report. What is this ROI is all about? Returns on investment. ROI means returns on investment. So this report is very, very critical to take a decision whether can we automate this project or not. How automation decision will be taken? Based on this ROI report. Returns on investment. So by looking at this report, client will take the final decision whether can we use automation testing in this project or not. Is it a benefit or not? We can find it by using this ROI report. We'll discuss this later in detail how that ROI metric will be calculated. And next one, weekly or monthly automation status reports should be generated and should be shared to our stakeholders. And next, test automation trend. That means automation trend, how the automation trend is changing release by release, build by build. Automation trend means how that automation coverage is changing. Is it increasing or is it decreasing? What is the automation, what is the execution effort saving? How execution efforts saving is keep changing in each release and in each build. So these trends, right, will be generated in the pictorial format or either in the table format. We can generate. It is called test automation trend. And next one is automation guidelines document. So this document defines the rules and standards that should be followed in the automation scripts development. Those rules and guidelines, standards will be defined in this document. And next one, automation feasibility report. What is this report is? See, before starting any automation project, right, we should have to do some feasibility check whether this project can be automatable or not. Can we automate this project or not? If you automate this project, what is the benefit, how much benefit we can get? So we have to check that first. Before starting automation project, any automation project, we have to do some feasibility check. That is called automation feasibility analysis. or it is called POC, proof of concept, or it is also called POC, proof of concept. So in this feasibility analysis, what we do, we will take some few test cases in that application, then we will automate those cases. Then we can record all the challenges and all the issues what we faced during that few cases automation. Whatever the challenges and issues are faced, that should be recorded, and then how you overcome those challenges, what is the solution you found, okay, that should be recorded. And then at the end of those few cases automation, then you have to record your findings, overall findings. So what is your observations? So is there any still open issues or open challenges that could not be solved during that feasibility check? So because of that, is there any test cases cannot be automated? If yes, how much percentage of test cases cannot be automated due to that open issues or open technical challenges, something like that. That means you can decide that what can be automated, what cannot be automated. Okay, what is the benefit you can get by automating this project, how much benefit you can get. So all these things you can find by using this feasibility check, by using feasibility analysis. So it is very mandatory step in every automation project. Before starting automation project, the feasibility analysis should be performed, and after that we should come up with automation feasibility analysis report, or it is called POC report. So in that report you should have to record everything, all your challenges, issues, what you have faced, and how you overcome those challenges, what are the solutions you have you come up with, and then still is there any open challenges or issues, and then what is the scope, that means what can be automated, what cannot be automated, and what are the benefits you can get by automating this, how much benefit you can get, all these things, and final conclusion, what is your recommendation. So can we go with the automation, or can we stop this automation, or can we automate only few areas? So that our recommendation should be present in the POC report. Okay, that is called automation feasibility report or POC report. And next one, automation user guide. So this will be generated or prepared at the end of the project. That means maybe while handing over to the client. So you should have to prepare the user manual or user guide so that client people or any other users or any other vendor people, they can be able to use this automation suite easily. So for that purpose, we have to prepare automation user guide or user manual, and it should be delivered to the client. And finally, test automation summary. That means what is our project summary. So that report should be handed over to the client. That means what approach we are using, what framework we are using, what challenges we faced during this project automation, and what are the lessons learned from this project. Okay, what are the best practices we have followed in this project. Okay, so all these things will be defined in the test automation summary. So these are all different reports will be used in the automation project. Yes, you have any questions in this reports section? You have any questions? No? Shekhar? Anybody else? No? Okay. Okay guys, actually today we have completely a theoretical session guys, because this is just simply concept. Okay, so that's why I'm here. It's like completely running by me. So maybe from tomorrow we will be starting with what is it, core Java. So it would be more practical oriented. It's not like just simply keep talking. Okay guys, So now come to the next section, metrics, automation metrics, test automation metrics. So in every testing project, it is very important, right? Tracking the matrices. All metrics tracking is very important in the testing project to understand what is the progress of our testing, okay? What is the quality of the application. So all these things, right, we can find out by using metrics. So in automation projects, what metrics will be generally, right, used? So these are the commonly used metrics in the automation process. Test automation coverage. What is this test automation coverage means? Number of test cases automated by total number of manual test cases. That is a formula. Number of test cases automated. Okay, yes, I will give you that in the document. Okay, no need to update here. Leave it. All these metrics formulas will be shared in the document. Okay. Yeah. Test automation coverage means nothing but number of test cases automated by total number of manual test cases in the project. That is called test automation coverage. And similarly, execution effort saved by automation. That means by running the test cases using automation, how much execution effort is saved. How it will be calculated? It is simple. Manual execution time minus automation execution time. That means suppose if I am running 1000 cases by using automation, how effort saving will be calculated? The manual execution time that will be taken if you execute these 1000 cases manually. That is the time is manual execution time, and minus what is the time taken by using automation to execute same 1000 test cases. So that will give effort saving. And next, another important metric, ROI, returns on investment. What is this metric is? See, to execute automation testing, first we have to build automation suite. Automation suite means collection of automation scripts for all the test cases. That is called automation suite. So we have to build the automation suite. So to build this automation suite, you have to spend some effort, right? To develop the automation scripts. So what is that effort? What is that effort? What is the automation development effort that we are spending to build the automation suite? This is called investment, automation investment. And from here, we are getting execution effort saving, correct? Effort saving. What is the total effort saving? Accumulated effort saving. In every release, you will be doing some automation execution. So by using that automation execution, you are saving some effort. Is that right? So that effort savings will be keep accumulated in every build, in every run. That will be keep accumulated. And then you will be getting final total effort saved. Then what is the total investment? What is the total effort that we invested to develop this automation suite? And by running this automation suite, what is the total effort saved? That is called effort saving. So now ROI will be calculated in two different ways. The first way in terms of dollars. How they calculate in terms of dollars? Total savings minus investment. That gives the net saving. Understand? The total savings minus, yes, if you are not understand, 1 second, I will give you here. See, for example, I have investment, the automation investment. Automation investment. So let us assume that here we spend some 200% of effort to develop automation suite. Okay, and now in each automation execution, in one automation execution cycle, how much effort we can save, effort saving in one automation execution cycle. Assume that we are saving 50% of effort. Now, for example, in 6 months period of time, in every month you are executing one time the regression testing. You are running one time regression testing every monthly once. So in 6 month time, we'll be running 6 times regression testing cycle, right? So total, that means total effort saving in 6 releases, that means in 6 months of time, is equal to 6 into 50. It is equal to 300%. This is the total saving. Is it right? Now, what is the net saving? It is called returns. What is the returns in dollars? Net savings in dollar. How it will be calculated? Total effort minus investment. It gives net effort saving into, it is in percentage, is it right? That should be converted into hours. So how many hours? 8 hours per day, right? So into what is the billing rate per hour? Suppose if it is $100 per hour, or $75 or $100, whatever it is, that is the hourly billing we are getting from the client. So this is the total saving in dollars. So this much savings we are getting by using this automation as ROI in dollars. That means what is this value? 300 minus 200. 300 minus 200. It is 100, right? 100 into 8. 100 into 8 into 100. So this much, $80,000. This is the net saving. So this is called ROI in dollars. See, in some projects, they can calculate ROI in terms of percentage like this. ROI in terms of percentage. How it will be calculated? What is the total saving? Total saving divided by investment percentage. We have to calculate percentage. This is the formula. So this is equal to how much it is? 300 divided by 200 is the investment, and into 100 is percentage, right? Into 100. So what is the percentage now? 150%. That means you are getting ROI more than 100%. That means whatever the amount of effort we invested, we get it back. On top of that, we get 50% returns, 50% profit. Got it? So like this, they will calculate ROI percentages. So this ROI will be calculated maybe monthly wise, or 6 monthly, half-yearly wise, or yearly wise, or release wise. We will be preparing this report in the table format, and that is called ROI report. So any questions, guys, here in the ROI report, ROI calculation? Do you have any questions in ROI calculation?
Sir?
Yeah.
Yeah, I am confused here. I know I couldn't understand exactly what this automation investment is equal to 200 PDS means.
Yeah, I'll tell you. Yeah. Automation investment means the effort required to build automation suite.
All right. Yes.
Auto
Like PDS means $200 or what is that? PDS abbreviation.
percentage.
Oh, percentage. Okay. Yeah.
No, not percentage. Person days.
Person days.
Days. Yes. Yes.
Days. 200 days. Right.
Right. 200% days. That means yes, you are right. 200 days.
200 days. Automation investment or 200 days. Okay. Effort saving is one automation.
Execution
Executive
cycle.
cycle is 15
But
days.
50 days. Yes.
Yeah, 50 days, right? Total effort savings 6 releases. Okay, 50 days into 6.
Yeah.
300 days. So net savings in R.
Net savings. Yes. Total effort minus investment.
Okay.
Total
Okay.
total effort savings.
Okay.
Total effort savings minus
Investment.
into 8. See what is 8? See this value will be in number of days. Correct.
Okay.
That value
Yes.
number of days into 8. It becomes hours.
Oh, right. Yes.
So hours, number of hours into $100. That means that is
Right.
the hourly billing cost.
Right. Okay.
So this gives overall total dollar value.
Okay.
That means by running automation execution in 6 releases within
Okay.
6 months time,
Okay.
we are saving this much dollars to the client.
Oh, okay.
Got it?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, the same thing. That means the same ROI can be calculated like this also in terms of
Okay.
percentage.
Yeah.
Total savings, total effort savings.
Right.
Effort saving is 300 by
Okay.
investment effort 200 into
200. Yeah.
it gives
Right.
150%.
Yeah.
So like
Okay.
this, right? We can calculate ROI in terms of percentage.
Okay.
Okay, this is actually this ROI will be calculated right during this feasibility analysis. We discussed right here, right? Automation feasibility report, right?
Right. Yeah.
After completing a feasibility check, right? Then we
Yeah.
will be able to prepare this ROI report.
Yeah.
So once you come up with this ROI report, then client will get an idea. Okay, how much benefit we can get by automating this project within one year.
Yeah.
Yeah, or within 2 years, how much benefit we can get. So they can understand it clearly. So then they can take
Okay.
a decision whether can we go with automation or not.
Right.
That is the use of ROI. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. The next metric is automation design productivity. It is simple. It is simple metric. Number of automation scripts developed in one day by one person. Number of scripts developed by one person in one day. That is called automation design productivity. And similarly, automation execution productivity. How many number of scripts can be executed in 8 hours of time? That means in 1% day. So that is called automation execution productivity. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, guys. Right. I would like to take some 10 minutes break. Okay. Then we can continue. See, before that, I will. Okay, fine. I can recap once again after the break. Okay, guys. We will join back after 10 minutes. It is at 8:15. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I got it. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Yeah. The technical support team is really right. That is very important. If there is no good technical supporting team is available, then if you are facing any technical challenges while using that tool in your project, then definitely you cannot get good help on time. So it may take a lot of time to fix or any challenging issues that may increase the effort to build that automation suits. That will increase the cost also. Okay. So it is very important to check that also. Suppose if you are going with any open source tools like Selenium WebDriver, definitely you cannot have any dedicated supporting team. So if there is any challenges while using Selenium WebDriver tool, then on your own you have to find the solution for any challenges. You have to search and do some R&D and then find the solution. If you go with any licensed tools, then they may have some dedicated supporting team. If there is any technical challenge, then simply you can approach them. They can provide immediately solution. So that kind of difference you can see in technical supporting. And also sometimes geographical presence. Geographical presence. That means what is this parameter is. See, sometimes your project might be spread across different regions in the world, maybe in different continents. Some one team might be in India, one time might be in US, one time might be in Switzerland. Okay, so that means when this project is spread across different geographical regions, suppose the main client is from, for example, from US. So what client will do? They will purchase the tool in US. Okay, that means they will purchase the tool licenses from US. So suppose if that vendor cannot provide the support in the Switzerland, but your team, that project team is present in Switzerland also, in India also, in US also. So any team can face the problem. So all the teams should be able to get the support on time. So that is very important. Suppose if that vendor says that I don't have any support in particular Switzerland region, so I cannot give any support to that particular team, then you will be in trouble. Okay, so that is also one thing we have to check, that geographical presence, in which geographical regions we have our presence, project presence. So in that particular area, can we get that vendor support or not? That is also one important thing. Okay, and also we have to check that technology verification reporting, exception handling, technical supporting, geographical. Yeah, another important thing, programming language. What is a programming language that tool supports? And ease of use. How easy that tool to learn and work for new users. And another important thing, uh, skilled resources availability. Skilled resources availability in the market. If you are using one tool, so the resources with good experience in that tool should be available in the market. So only then your project can go smoothly. Suppose if you go with some new automation tool which is coming, which has come into the market, then definitely you cannot find any experienced resource in that particular tool. So but you can go with that, but definitely it will take more effort in the automation project development. Okay, so these are all some important parameters that will be considered in the comparison of multiple automation tools, and then based on all these criteria they will give what is that ratings, and then they will decide which tool is best suited for this particular application. And also there's one more point, integration with test management tools. If suppose in our project, if you are using a ALM, or if you are using something Bugzilla kind of defect management tools, then this automation tool can be integrated with this particular test management tool as well. So that also you can check that integration with the test management tools. Yeah. So that is about tool evaluation. So once they compare, they will prepare a report here. They will prepare a report, and then they will what is the criteria they are using to compare various tools. Then they will give rating for each criteria, and then they will come up with a total rating for each tool. Then they will decide that which tool is getting best rating. That tool will be picked up for this particular project automation. So that's how this evaluation will happen. See, in some projects, clients may have already what is that? They may have already tool. Okay, so client may be having some technical team, and they might have already decided this is the tool we have to use to automate our application. So they might have already purchased the tool. So in that case, this step is not required. You can go directly use that tool. When this step is required, if client doesn't have any automation tool with them, and if they are asking you, that means since you are going to suggest to the client, see, we can automate this particular area in this project. If you automate this particular area, then you will be getting this much dollar savings benefit by automating this particular functionalities. So these many times we can reuse it in the project life cycle. So from that you can get this much dollar savings. So like this you are going to propose to the client. So in that case, if there is any automation tool not available with the client, then you have to do this tool evaluation, and then you have to recommend to the client this is the tool is best for this particular application automation. So you have to purchase this tool, provide this tool to us, then we will do feasibility and or we will use this tool for automating this project. So we have to recommend to the client which tool is best to automate this project from this evaluation process. And once tool evaluation is done and tool selection is completed, the next step is feasibility analysis. Feasibility analysis. So here what we are doing, feasibility check, automation feasibility check. That means we have to understand what are the challenges and what are the issues in automating this particular application first. So to find all the challenges and issues, first we have to take some few test cases that covers all parts of the application. So we will be selecting some end-to-end few test cases. Then we will be automating those test cases by using this automation tool. So in this process, you will be facing some issues and challenges, and then you will be overcoming those challenges and issues. Then you will be proceed, and you will be finishing automation of those test cases, whatever test cases are selected for feasibility check. After completing that feasibility check, then you will be giving the report, feasibility analysis report, with your findings and with your recommendations. And then you will be preparing ROI report as well. After completing this feasibility analysis, you can be able to prepare ROI report immediately. That means you can understand clearly, okay, by using this tool, how much time it is taking to automate one test case, how much time it is taking to execute one test case. So all this information you can find after this feasibility analysis completion. So then based on that data, you can be able to prepare ROI reports. It is just estimation. It is an estimated ROI report. That means with this analysis, you are assuming that it may take this much effort to complete some 1,000 test case automation. It will take this much effort. And if you run these 1,000 cases in every release, starting from after 6 months, if you run these 1,000 cases every month for 2 years, then how much effort you can save? Then what is the total saving? What is the total investment you spent to develop this automation suite? Then what is the net saving you are getting? So like that, we can prepare ROI report for yearly once. That means after 1 year, what is the ROI? After 2 years, what is ROI? After 3 years, what is ROI? So that projection can be prepared in the ROI report. And that ROI report will be shared along with this POC report. That means proof of concept report. POC, proof of concept report. Along with this POC report, ROI report also will be prepared, and that will be shared to the client. And then with our proposal. So we are planning to automate this particular functionality by using this automation tool. So if you automate this particular functionality, or if you automate this regression suite by using this tool, we can use this automation suite this many times in the project lifecycle. From that, we can get this much effort saving. Then client will decide that can we go with this automation or not. That means automation decision will be taken after that by the client. Automation decision will be taken by the client. Once automation, that means if once the client approved that automation project, then client will provide the required number of resources, the required number of licenses, everything client should provide. Okay, once they provide that, then what we will be doing here, automation team, they will prepare automation strategy plan. Automation strategy and the plan will be prepared. Again, that will be reviewed by the client again, and that should be approved. Once that plan is ready, then the next step should be automation team deployment. Automation team deployment. Then automation testers will be deployed into the team, into the project, and training, the required trainings will be provided to that team. Trainings means say our team members, whoever joined newly into the team, they might be new to this domain, to this application, to this automation tool, to this automation framework, all those things. Okay, so sorry guys, before deployment, sorry guys, I missed one more important step. After planning, strategy planning is completed, the next step is automation framework development or customization. It is one important step. Once automation strategy and plan is in place, then automation lead or senior automation test engineers will work on this activity. Automation framework development or customization of existing automation framework. See, what is this automation framework is? Automation framework means it is a set of programs. Automation framework is a set of collection of programs, rules and guidelines which establishes a platform where we can develop and maintain automation scripts easily. That means to make your automation development and automation maintenance task simple, this automation framework will help you. This automation framework will make automation development and maintenance activity easy. That is the purpose of automation framework. Why we should use automation framework in the project and the automation project? To make our job easy. To make our automation development activity and maintenance activity simple. That is the objective of any automation framework. Okay, we will discuss later about this automation frameworks. Okay, little more detail in detail. All of you clear? Automation framework means timing. Just right, keep in mind this point. Automation framework is nothing but it is a set of collection of programs. Okay, it contains some set of programs, rules and guidelines. Set of rules and guidelines. All these together will establish a platform. By using this platform, we can develop and maintain the automation scripts easily. That is called automation framework. So there are different types of automation frameworks we have. So we can use different types of frameworks in the automation projects. That we'll discuss later in detail, guys. I don't want to go in detail now to create more confusion. Okay. The next one, once automation framework is development or customization. So generally, right, if you take any big companies like MNC companies, they might have developed their own automation framework at organization level. That means in that organization, in all automation projects, they prefer to use that framework by default. Until unless client insisting you to go with some other framework, they will prefer to use that organizational inbuilt in-house framework. Okay, that like that. So generally in all MNC companies, they might have developed their own automation framework, and that framework will be used in their automation projects within that organization. But it is very important in every automation project, some automation framework should be used. Without automation framework, there will be no automation project at all. Okay, so it is very important to understand this concept more detail. Okay, I will discuss that after completing this automation process. Once automation framework is selected and it is customized or developed and it is ready for use, then the next step, automation team deployment and training. Then automation testers will be deployed into the project, and automation lead should identify what trainings those automation testers need, either application training, application KT or domain KT or automation framework KT or automation tool KT. So all these things they should identify, and they should provide all required trainings to the automation team. And after that, now automation team will be ready to start automation development. So the next step, automation development. In this step, what we are doing, we are developing automation test scripts for all the test cases. Understand, here automation scripts will be developed by using that automation tool and by using that automation framework. By using automation tool and the framework, whatever the framework is selected for this project, by using that framework and by using that automation tool, team will start creating automation test scripts for all the test cases. Once automation scripts are developed, what is the next step? Review and rework. See, inside, as part of this automation framework, just now I have told you that automation framework means a set of programs, rules and guidelines. Got it? That means in the framework, as part of the framework, they are defining some rules and some guidelines. So those rules and guidelines should be strictly followed in the automation script development. It is very important. If you don't follow those rules and guidelines as per the framework, then your script may not be running as expected. So it is very important to check that, to ensure that all automation scripts are following the rules and guidelines which are defined in the framework. So that is very important. Review and rework should be done after completing automation script development. And once a review is completed, the next step is test scripts integration to create automation suites. Here we are creating automation suites. Once individual scripts are created for all the test cases, how you are going to execute these test cases? By using automation one by one? No. That means I will open one script, then run it, one test case will be executed, then again open second test case, then run that, second test case will be executed. Like this we are going to run? No, it is not the way. So how you have to integrate all these automation scripts together as a batch or as a suite, as an automation suite. So that means as per the business flow, application business flow, we have to integrate all these automation scripts in the same order or sequence into one automation suite. So it is nothing but like a test set. If you are using ALM, in ALM we can create a test set. Test set means collection of test cases. You can add multiple test cases into one test set. Similarly, here we can create one automation test set where you can add multiple automation scripts together one by one. as a group. That is called automation suite. That is called test scripts integration. Once integration is done, completed, the next step is execution environment setup. See, as we discussed before, automation scripts will be generated or will be developed generally in the QA environment, but client may ask you to execute these scripts on any environment, either development or ASM or UAT or production. He can ask you to execute it in any environment. Understand? So in which environment we have to run this automation suite? So we have to first do some pre-check. That means prerequisites we have to check to run this automation suite. What are the prerequisites? Whether those prerequisites are ready or not in that particular environment. So like we have to check that what is the URL for that particular environment and what are the credentials to access that environment. We have to get new credentials for that new environment. Similarly, you have to get some database connectivity. For every environment, database may change. So you have to connect again different database for different environment. So you have to again get that database access credentials. So these kind of things we have to check before starting execution. That means in which environment automation suite should be executed. So in that environment, we have to check some prerequisites are met to start automation execution. If they are not met, we have to make it ready. First, we have to make that execution setup is ready in that particular environment. Once that execution setup is ready, then the next step, execution. Now we can start automation execution. Now you can run this automation suite maybe at night. Simply you can start execution and you can leave the office. So that automation tool or your automation framework should complete all the automation scripts execution at night, and it should generate the results. And next day morning, you can check your results and you can start analyzing those results. So the next step should be results analysis. Results analysis. So once that result analysis and reporting, if there is any scripts are failed, then you have to again check that why it is failed. Is it functionality defect? Is it application issue? So there can be different reasons, multiple reasons. The script can be failed due to different reasons. It can be application issue, or it can be a data issue, or it can be your script issue, or it can be application environment is down, some server can be down, or some network can be down. So script can be failed because of any of these reasons. So you have to analyze that properly, and then you have to find out what is the root cause of that failure, and then we have to take the appropriate action, and we have to report that execution summary. How many executed, how many failed, what is the failure analysis report. Out of that, how many defects are raised, how many tickets are raised. Tickets means if there is any environmental issue like a network down, server down kind of things, then you may be raising some ticket, or you have to communicate to the concerned admin team, correct? So that kind of appropriate action should be taken, and execution status report should be shared to all stakeholders. That is the result analysis and reporting. And then the next step should be maintenance, automation maintenance. In this step, what we are doing after completing execution, then you can find some scripts are failed because of changes in the application. Because of requirement changes in the application, some scripts might be failed. So those scripts should be updated as per the new change in the application. Your script should be updated. That is coming under automation maintenance. So now these steps, which steps? Starting from here, execution setup environment or development, from 8th to, sorry, from 10 also not, from 11 to 14. These steps will be repeated for every build. for every build we have to execute the automation steps. Is it right? So from steps 11 to 12 will be repeated for all the builds and releases. Repeated. Once all releases are completed, execution is completed, that means testing is completed, correct? Then we have to close the project. So these are the steps involved in automation testing lifecycle. Guys, you got it now, the flow. What is the automation testing process? How automation project will be running in the testing projects? Do you have any questions or query in this concept? Automation testing lifecycle process. Do you have any questions? Yeah. Yeah, good question. Is there no bug life cycle in the automation life cycle? Good question. See, actually, where bug life cycle defect will come here after result analysis, right? Here, in this step, what happens after result analysis? The scripts, why script is failed? We have to analyze that. The script can be failed because of the following reasons. The first one can be application issue. If it is application issue, that means application is not working as expected, correct? That is application issue. Then what we do? Suppose in your project, manual testing team, automation team, both are same, then you should raise the defect. If the script is failed because of application issue, and if your automation team and manual testing team both are same, then you should raise the defect. Suppose if your project contains two different teams, automation team separate and functional team is separate, then if automation script is failed because of application issue as per your analysis, then what you should do as automation tester, you should send this failed script analysis to functional team. So that functional tester should recheck that and he should confirm that whether it is a defect or not. Once they confirm that it is a defect, then defect should be logged. Got it? Like this, defect should be logged in the project. Defect should be logged here. If it is application issue, definitely the defect should be logged. And then defect lifecycle will start here. And second, some scripts might be failed because of environment issue. That means server or network down, that kind of thing. If it is application environment issue, then what we do? Generally, we raise ticket. It is called ticket, or we should send an email to concerned admin team to inform that server is down. We are not able to test the application. So the next one is sometimes script will be failed because of data issue. That means the data might be updated in the application. You are using old data in your script. So it will fail. Then what we have to do in this case? We have to update your test data. Correct? Update test data and rerun. Again, we have to rerun that script. The next one, sometimes a script will be failed because of application change. Application change. That means there might be some change request, or there would be some requirement change happen. So because of that, script might be failed. Then in this case, what we should do? It will go to automation maintenance step. This script will go to maintenance phase. Got it? Sometimes, yeah, that's it. These are the main categories why automation scripts would be failed, because of these reasons. So depends upon your analysis, you should take appropriate action after your analysis. Any other questions, guys? In this life cycle automation testing life cycle process, see again, just I will recap it again. The first step in any automation project, identifying automation candidates. Who will do this? Generally test manager or automation manager or automation lead will do this. They will identify, or even functional lead also can do that, because they know better, is it right, what areas can be automatable, what areas can be executed, should be executed again and again. So they are really good to suggest that this functionality can be automated, these are the cases can be automated. So that means you can get some recommendations even from functionality to identify automation candidates. Once automation candidates are identified, the next step should be tool evaluation. Tool evaluation is required if the client doesn't have, there is no tool, automation tool with client. In that case, you have to do some R&D and find out which tool is best to automate this application and recommend that tool to the client. How will you do that? There are different parameters will be used to evaluate the tool. And the next step, by using that tool, you have to perform some small POC, proof of concept. That means we have to select some few end-to-end cases which covers the whole application, and then we have to find out the challenges and difficulties and issues in automating that application, and also you have to come up with the solutions. And if you are not able to find any solution for any issues or challenges, then what is the impact of that open issue? That means how many cases can be blocked due to that issue, cannot be automated. So all these things can be found from this feasibility analysis. And also you can find that how much time it will take to automate one case, how much time it will take to execute one case by using automation. So that also we can find using this from this feasibility analysis. And from this we can prepare ROI report, and that will be shared to the client, and the client will approve the automation project based on that ROI report and the feasibility analysis report. Once client approves that project, then client should provide the number of automation team resources and then automation tool licenses, everything to the automation team. After that, automation team or automation lead will come up with automation strategy and automation plan for the whole automation project, and it should be approved by the client again. And after that, automation framework development and customization should be done, and the automation framework should be finalized. And after that, automation team should be deployed into the project, and automation lead should identify the training requirements, and they should have to provide all those trainings to the team as per the schedules. After that, automation script development should be started, and automation team should develop automation scripts for all the test cases by using automation framework and automation tool. And after that, each and every automation script should be reviewed and should rework on any updates as per the framework rules and guidelines. And after that, automation scripts should be integrated into automation suites. And after automation suites are created, then we have to set up we have to check execution setup in the environment where automation suite should be executed. Once execution setup is ready, then automation execution can be started. After finishing automation execution, automation results should be analyzed, and then an appropriate action should be taken, and execution status report should be shared to all stakeholders. After that, automation maintenance, automation script should be updated as per the new changes in the application, and these steps from 11 to 14 will be repeated in every release. And finally, automation project closure, where automation project summary, okay, and user guide kind of report should be delivered to the client. This is about automation testing process. So do you have any questions and queries, guys? No. Okay. Now tell me, right? How is this now? Are you able to follow today's session? So today actually I discussed about completely theoretical part. Okay. So are you able to? Did you follow me? Are you able to understand my flow? Or you can always write suggest me that, or you can stop me if you have any query or any question, guys. Okay, just ping me that. Even you don't need to ask me in that phone, just simply you can ping me that if you have any query, or if you have anything, if you want to repeat me once again any particular what is that point, I can do that. Okay. And right, this document, right, I will try to send you that some more detailed document of all the concepts what we are discussing in our sessions. And from tomorrow, mostly, right, it would be more practical oriented, like we'll be working with Eclipse from tomorrow. So I will try to write, you guys also do some practicals in our session itself, at least minimum, at least 1 or 2 practicals you should also do. Only then you can write, see that, what is that, learn that really. That means you can be able to implement it in the real-time project. If you don't practice it, right, just simply if you listen it, then definitely you may not be in a position to use that concept in the real-time project. So that's why I will try my best to make you, right, involved in practice as well in the session itself. Okay. So please, tomorrow I will tell you, I will show you that how to do that setup, everything, Eclipse setup, and also everything, all the setups, right, I will show you, and I will help you to set up the same in your missions as well, so that you can also do practice parallelly with me in the session itself. Okay. So you have any questions, guys? Any other questions, in general questions or anything? You have any doubts or any queries you want to ask me about automation or testing or any other queries, or about our course, anything? So actually